almost didn't believe that what.
I don't ever remember there being a gas station there.
Well, I remember the gas station, but I also remember when it was built as Key West, and they took a lot of material out of there.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm surprised it's there too.
I remember the used car lot when they used to sell the velvet paintings on the corner. That was the last memory I had of it.
Yeah.
Still has some of them.
So this new owner, when he comes in, how does, I mean, what's the process of requesting, you know, I mean, when he buys this, how did we know? Did we tell him there's a tank there, or
No,
does he know?
they hire a
They must
company.
have did something, yeah.
They hire a company and they go in there and they pull all the due diligence from that property. They go and do borings and find contaminants. They look
Yeah,
at,
some
Jerry went
x-rays.
out there and assessed the building to make sure that that qualifies. And then we actually took their assessment and bounced it off our attorney. Actually, this was approved through the roundtable board. However, it needs your final blessing to move forward.
How does the building qualify?
It suffers from obsolescence, both external and functional obsolescence with the lighting and the interior design. So that falls under the obsolescence factor of the brown.
You're gonna have to give me the definition of that word.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair, if I could take just a few minutes, just to give everyone a quick update. We are not bringing anything forward tonight or tomorrow, but we are relatively close to a recommended path for the Ames Highway situation.
Okay.
I know that Commander Blair is here, and he's been very involved from the police department side. And of course, Keith Bach has been involved from the DPW side. But in short, there is no easy solution. There is no solution that's going to fit everyone, as you can imagine. But the high-level version of what our suggested path is that everybody that would like to park where we're saying they cannot park would need to come in, fill out an application. There will be a nominal fee. We don't have that number established yet, but it will be less than $50, and that will require us to go out and inspect the site. They will be required to dig out 6 inches of the area. That would be an 8 by 12, not to exceed an 8 by 20 area, and they will be required to put 6 inches of 21 AA, AA, MDOT approved aggregate, which will help bridge the weight of the vehicle that's parking there. And then it will require, you know, again, the inspection. So I understand that it probably won't make everybody happy, but we think it's the path of least resistance that will work for the majority.
I think most people just want to know if they can or if they can't, you know.
Well,
So
one thing that's
they made sure they knew that you may not be able to park on yours, but Alex may.
right. So a couple things. Contrary to what they've been told in the past, if in fact they have been told, this will not allow them to keep any vehicles on the road. This is actually just the opposite. We're going to tell them to get all the vehicles off the road because the road is too narrow after evaluation by the police department. It cannot. We prefer just to get the vehicles off the road. The other thing is that by signing the application, they will be accepting full responsibility if in fact there is damage. Again, they're doing it at their own free will. So if there's a damage in the future to that catch basin or culvert, they'll be responsible for that. But we think that Keith and Greg has been out there from a structural standpoint. We don't believe there's much risk if they do it the right way.
If they do that right,
Yeah.
okay.
So real quick, they're not going to require to put in asphalt,
No.
correct?
Again, we're preliminarily correct.
But if they wanted to, they might be able to.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
So we haven't
The situation.
discussed that. I don't know if there's drainage issues with asphalt, you know, because it becomes an impervious surface. So you know that's an issue we'll have to look at. But at this point in time, we're recommending gravel only.
Okay. Another quick question. We have other areas of the city. I got a call today from Buck Street on the south end, and they're having the same issues.
And we discussed that with the police department today, that we're going to try to evaluate some of the other known areas. We know that behind like Malik Kebabs is another area. We think Yeah, Baraga, Morton View, but they have longer driveways, so it isn't as big of an issue to park there.
Right.
But we are trying to look at all of those before we bring a recommendation forward.
And one other thing that I think they should understand is if they do it in front of their house, that don't mean that they're the sole, they can, the only ones that could park there.
That's on the application. That is identified on the application.
Because I can just see that happening.
Yeah.
That's like 30 acres per
Well,
parking lot.
I grew up in the neighborhood myself, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of, they talk about the houses being too close together and all that.
Not that way at my house.
Most of those homes, half of the homes have garages.
Right.
And the other half, they've got a gate there. If they want to improve for parking, instead of out front, put the gravel down in
And yeah,
your
you're right.
backyard.
You're right.
So,
What our experience was when we drove the neighborhood again, a lot of the homes, they were parking in the street, but the driveway was wide open. They were choosing to park in the road. It wasn't out of necessity.
It's not a lazy.
And you have a few of the corner houses that do have issues.
Yeah, there were some, yeah.
You know, but yeah, absolutely. That's why I said parking your driveway.
Right.
I had to move them, you know.
Another point is that in the application, it says it has to be parallel to the home. So they're not gonna be able to, like, if they wanna put asphalt, they're not gonna be putting like a second driveway in all the way
Right.
across.
And we have seen
It's
that.
gotta be parallel,
Right.
so they're gonna have to park parallel, not vertically onto the lawn. Because
Well, yeah.
we have driven there, and
Okay.
there are some people that are parking
Side
that way.
tires,
I
basically.
do have a
Yeah.
video of the one that they did asphalt and they pitched it to the drain and it was raining, all going right into the drain. So that was a good one. So,
Yeah, the only part there is that they didn't pull a permit.
right.
It was good up to
They like
that
the one
point.
that did the driveway right in front of their house.
Yeah.
So now you can drive through their house.
So,
maybe we can,
so again, we're getting closer, I just want to give you guys a quick update, I'm sure that
Finalized.
we have not been in there enforcing the parking issue, we've been enforcing other issues, but, we'll finalize it, we'll get city council, to weigh in on the final document, and then we'll begin the process of meeting with the residents.
Get the information out there, okay.
So could you explain to us what's gonna happen as far as, the new chief of police and the process you discussed so
Yep.
far?
So we will post the position, we'll work with Sheila to post the vacancy, and I suspect it'll probably be a 30-day posting is my guess. We'll interview all the interested applicants and move forward accordingly. I'm
So I was
guessing,
curious if there was gonna be who was gonna be on the interview board. If
Yeah,
a
we-
council representative, I'd like to nominate Mr. Myers.
we haven't talked about any
Yeah,
of
I
that
know,
yet.
I know, I just spun that, because I think that you'd be great.
I'm trying to go on vacation.
We haven't talked about any of that yet, but procedurally, it'll be posted
It's
soon.
already dressed.
And as you know, Blair is the current chief as we go through that process. And I don't know if you guys have everyone has John's contact information, but if you don't, I'd recommend you exchange numbers in case you have questions, that it's always easier to go directly to him.